I don't even know how possible it is to just be your full confident self in high school because of the environment. It's also, I don't know, biologically just a time when people are figuring out their identity and trying on new identities. And it can be very confusing to just be like, I'm not okay. I'm insecure. I'm anxious. I've got all these things going on. And the weird thing is everybody is involved in the charade and everybody feels that way. We all know from social media and stuff like that, but there's people that act like they are fine all the time, and you were doing that a lot. I certainly did that in high school. But when you get to the point when you can admit to not just yourself but others, and for different people that order changes. Sometimes you start by saying it to someone else, and then you can start to know it yourself. And other times it's like, oh my God, this is true, and you might figure it out when you're talking to somebody you trust, and then eventually have the courage to tell others, hey, guess what? I deal with anxiety, or I get depressed sometimes, or whatever. But doing that is actually a part of building confidence, even though it sounds like an unconfident thing to do. That's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. It's a very vulnerable place you have to put yourself into. And it's part of it is accepting. I think it's funny because like you said, it's a very unconfident thing to do. It's you have to accept like, hey, I'm not confident. I'm very insecure. I'm not happy. But I don't want to be like this, right? This is not the ideal. This is not the goal at all. And so it is tough to be that vulnerable with yourself. And then, especially if you can be vulnerable like that with yourself, then be vulnerable like that with other people. And is very hard to not put on the facade or the false identity of being confident.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very human. And like you said, especially at a very vulnerable and tumultuous time like high school or early college, just like these adolescent parts of your life, everyone's literally in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
And it's like it's different for everyone. Obviously, everyone is dealing with all these things in different degrees, but for the most part, people can relate. And I believe like once I was, and other people, other friends too, who I've talked to along the way, were able to put themselves in that vulnerable position and that very unconfident position was when the switch started. And the journey is a long journey and different for different timelines for different people. But once that first step was taken and that vulnerability door was opened, was the first step to getting confident. You have to start, I think, accepting how unconfident you are for whatever reasons, to then change and get to the very ideal confidence that you want.
Wow. So that's not intuitive,
yeah,
but it's so true.
yeah, exactly. And it is also, it's a lie to say once you get there, you're going to be there forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, like I would say like now I am much more confident than I was at 16 years old. And I would say like now, like I am at like the highest self-love I've been, but that doesn't mean like every day like I am like that. There are some days and some interactions that really like make me question who I am or what I like about myself. But then the next day, or even maybe a few hours later, or just later on, whenever the time may be, like I'm like, I return back to like, okay, these are still the things I like about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, if I am questioning something about myself, why? Is it because this is an actual piece of me that may not be the best and I actually want to change it? Or if it's just those, inklings of insecurity creeping back in, let's let them creep back out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's always going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, but the dips I think are just very human and a part of just going through everyday life, but you want to get to a place where you can start at the top and wake up and just be happy with who you are and all you are. And then the dips won't feel as crazy
Yeah.
and on that like roller coaster.